Yeah, like reading your book a couple of years ago, I've got to say it's one of the fascinating books I've read. We all read the sort of the books from the Premier League players, and it's pretty much they all sort of fall into the same category of good read, but nothing we really didn't know.
Yeah,
They earn lots of money, get moves to big clubs, talk about agents, and that sort of really is it. But reading your book, what I found interesting was the sort of the start of it and how you sort of angled into the sort of the whole natural sort of side of things. I mean, you started sort of training at Arsenal, I believe.
yep,
And
started there.
yeah, and sort of reading your sort of efforts of trying to get in there. And that was a time really before sort of foreigners came over, wasn't it? Sort of a lot of sort of training.
Yeah, a lot different to then. I mean, the motivation for writing it initially was just that I enjoy reading sports books like you and probably like most of us. And like you say, it's a lot of the top players. Ones are interesting reads, but they can be a little bit bland. And everyone's quite well media trained these days. So unless you get the odd person like Craig Bellamy that sort of says what he feels,
yeah, exactly.
Normally quite, they don't normally tell you too much. But obviously with me having no sort of profile and in the best will in the world being a nobody, the only thing I really had was honesty.
Yeah.
So it was really important for me to just be honest and tell people what it's like to be a lower league footballer. And everyone's quite aware of how glamorous it is when you're playing in the Premier League and earning X amount of hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. Then, I don't think I need to tell you that that's probably good fun. But I think people sometimes have that misconception that it's similar in the lower leagues, and it's clearly not. You have a great career and a very enjoyable to still being paid to play football, but you're getting probably paid maybe an average wage or a bit more than average wage, but for a career that only lasts for maybe 15 years, and out of those 15 years, you've probably got an only really good earning capacity for sort of 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just trying to give people an eye opener of that and insecurity of it and all that sort of thing. Like you touched on there, obviously I started off at Arsenal and then just sort of quickly worked my way down.
Yeah, well, that's what's pretty interesting with the sort of the common person on the street was, normally it's the other way around, but with you sort of went around every avenue, but it ended up from reading the book that, you got to where you wanted to be in a way, but just around every, it's just sort of sound very interesting.
Yeah, no, look, I didn't really get to where I wanted to be because I wanted to play for Arsenal. But, but I probably got to where I probably just fell a little bit short of where my capabilities deserve to be. I look at the strengths and the weaknesses I had, and I think anyone that watched me play would probably say as a footballer and a technical footballer, I was quite a good player. Physically, I was, and athletically, I was poor. So you can't play in the Championship or the Premier League unless you've got both of those, really. Obviously how good they are depends on whether you play in the Championship or the Premiership. But I think I could have sustained a better career at sort of top end of League Two, bottom end of League One. I think would have been a realistic, realistic for my skill set. But because I probably was a little bit misguided from sort of 17 to 22, 23 when I was enjoying myself a bit too much, I was then playing catch up and couldn't quite achieve that. But I said, did I dream of playing for Hereford, Yeovil, all those clubs when I was 12, 13? Of course I didn't. But in the end, I was proud of having a decent career because I know loads of players that were miles better than me. That didn't go on to have the career that I had, but I also know one or two that I know weren't better than me and went and done even better. So, but overall, I wouldn't be. Is there a little bit of tinge of regret? Yeah, but I'm also a realist and know that was probably around my level, give or take a league or two.
So what you know now is, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You would have sort of prepared. I was talking to a lot of Hereford fans when you first joined. They thought, wow, who's this? You came from Yeovil in 2002, I think it was. And,
I went to Southend. So left Yeovil, went to Southend for a year and got into
that's right.
And come to Hereford. And what do they say? The youth is wasted on the young, don't they? And I would love. Every day I tell to people I'd love to go back and be 16 again, knowing what I know now. But then everyone feels like that, don't they? Whatever job they've got.
Whatever profession.
And it's probably, I'd argue that it's a skill that at 15, 16, 17 to be mature enough to take on board the help that people are trying to give you and be mature enough to understand what you need to do. I didn't have that at that age.
I think with the education now they get, it probably would have been perfect for someone like you back 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, as you say.
Yeah.
But looking at, as I just sort of briefed on, say that you came to Hereford in 2002, and you picked up, if I remember rightly, a bit of an injury in pre-season, which put you back a little bit. But once you got going, if I remember rightly, you scored. Was it on your debut, or did you come on?
Yep, on my debut against Barnet. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I remember that. And you sort of hit the sort of full running, really. You sort of got going, and
it was a sort of like Hereford. Sometimes you just sort of tend to feel comfortable somewhere and to fit in there, and that was. I think a lot of players, especially lower league players, have one of those clubs in their career where they feel comfortable, and Hereford was probably the one for me. Straight away it seemed to click. I always, talk to people, and a lot of people don't know where Hereford is, and then people that do say, it must be a bit different there, it's a bit dull living there, but I really enjoyed it, I loved it, I thought it was a really nice place.
Oh, that's good, because that's the one problem we've feel that catchment area, even now they've been reformed, and you get players, it's tougher now, because obviously we're a lot lower, and, but we did have players who used to sort of want to say that they found but I think if you embrace it, and I believe you bought a house, didn't you? Or you shared a house with, was it Matt Baker?
Yeah, I shared a house with Matt. But I mean, the thing that was easy for me was I didn't have a family, so it was just literally my bag.
Easy,
that's a lot easier to do than if you've got a wife and 2 kids and you've got to move them around. So for me at that time, I was just happy to go and play football wherever. So it was. I like playing at Edgar Street. It's an old rickety ground.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's even more so now. But I think when it's banged out and the meadow ends full, and it was a great atmosphere, and it was all attacking down that hill. I used to love those days. And when we were 2-0, 3-0 up, and I could start doing my back heels and showboating. And Graham would give me a little look every now and then and bollocking. But that's what I liked. I like that sort of, and the way I wanted to play. Graham was quite. On board with that. He gave us quite a lot of freedom, and one of the reasons why I enjoyed playing for him.
Well, that's why, I'm skipping forward a bit. Obviously loved you. Him spending 20 grand to bring you back, and on a contract as well.
That's unheard of, isn't it?
You're right. We nearly all fainted. But that's a bit later on. But just you talking quick, about your first spell. So first season was sort of. I think we finished sort of mid-table, sort of third table. And then we got going, 2003, fourth season. We brought players in like Greener. Purdy was with us already. I think he joined the same season as you. But Graham sort of got players like Rose, and you could see the team was really gelling, and the football was just, we were thinking this is out of its world, the football that season. Can you explain how you felt about it?
Well, it was interesting because I think I look back on it and I'm not sure we actually signed that many players. What we did was we just kept a team together that had time to grow and get to know each other's strengths. If you look at your Ryan Green come.
Yeah. I think Rose was already there, wasn't he?
Michael Rose was already there.
Yeah.
David Brown come. They were the only 2 that really come into the team. But Jordan King come and played little bits and bobs, and other players come and dipped in and out of the team.
Yeah.
But the only 2 that played regularly probably were Brownie and Ryan Green. It just clicked. We'd had a year together. We were all around a similar age, had got on quite well on and off the pitch, and the team started getting built. I always look at it and think, well, Jamie Pittman could do what I couldn't do very well. I could do what he weren't quite so good at. Then you had Paul Parry, who was an out-and-out winger, so he could attack. I could attack. You had Danny Williams playing on the right, who wasn't quite as an attacking. He was more of a David Beckham type winger that would stay tucked in. So the balance was just right. It gave me and Paul the freedom to go forward. You had Steve going in, who's obviously a really good striker to play off, and attacking midfielders like me from my perspective. You had 2 good attacking fullbacks in Greeny and Michael Rose. You had good centre backs in Tony James, Andy Trett, and Tamika come in at some stage, and all that sort of stuff. So it's just, look, was it luck? Was it design? I don't know. Only Graham could tell you that.
Yeah. It's quality, I
think at clubs like Hereford and the smaller clubs, normally what happens is you don't get more than a year or 2 to build a team. If they don't do very well, you get rid of the players. If they do really well, the players move on because there's interest in them, because you can never have the money. Hereford never had the money to say, well, actually, we'll double your contract and so you can stay.
Yeah.
So it was you always got like sort of a 1 or 2 year shelf life with any team. But that was the second year of that team, and it just, everything clicked, and it was started well and just went on and on and on. And it was like, I think for lower league football, it's probably as good as it gets. It was entertaining. There was loads of goals. We were winning most weeks.
Yeah.
You know, we had like the 4-3 game against Aldershot, brilliant game.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Taking them 9-0, going away and beating Forest Green 7, beating Farnborough 7, just not beating teams. We were dismantling them a lot of the time. So, yeah, it was, look, if you're a football player, a manager, a fan, if you didn't enjoy those games, then you obviously didn't like football.
That's it,
It was just like the dream, wasn't it? And it was just unfortunate that then we didn't quite do it. And like, don't get me wrong, Chester had a really good team as well, and they were probably they were a totally different team to us because they were really,
weren't they? Yeah,
but they were good. That's a good team. Yeah. Different ways of doing it. Yeah. And obviously the playoffs is a lottery, and I always just look back at it and think, when you finish that many points ahead of someone, I just think there should be some sort of handicapping system in place where you get goal advantage, or you play a one-off game at your home ground. You know, it don't seem fair that we finished. God, I don't know. I might be wrong. But I'm sure it's like 17 points ahead of Aldershot.
Aldershot, yeah.
You have a two-legged game where you're both on level terms. That's right. 17 extra points. We should have some sort of, some sort of advantage, like a one-goal head start, or just like I said, a one-off game at Edgar Street. I mean, no guarantee you'd win that, but it seems a little bit unfair. But you would say that when we was on the wrong end of it.
No, and exactly. I remember the Aldershot away game, and we came away 1-1, and amazing support.
That, weren't you?
And then the sort of I had this feeling home on the Monday, I think it was, and then just gut wrenching. But you pretty much you sort of talked about that sort of the season really well, and the sort of as you say the Dagenham game, and then you got injured with a few games to go, and we went on that winning streak, and
I was
unfortunate.
I mean, in hindsight, it didn't affect the team in the league campaign, but I'd like to think that I could have maybe made a difference in the playoff games. You never know.
That's what I mean. Because we all said actually when you had the injury, we thought, this is going to be, but actually I just felt that bit of those last few games maybe just you may have made the difference, but who knows.
You never know, but I think the good thing is the team was in such a good place at that time that you could take a good player out of the team. It didn't make any difference because we were just so confident and doing so well.
Exactly.
Like you say, it's just the playoff. I might have nicked to go in one of those two games. It might have made no difference. But it's always. But just from a personal perspective, the season was going so well, and I didn't want it to end, and for it to end that way was obviously disappointing. Because I'm pretty sure I'd have probably gone on to get 20 odd goals and played a big part in the end of the season. But
such is life. But you sort of talk about the end of the season, and then of course we're praying that we can keep the bulk of the players, and you refer it in your book. You're honest enough to say that the problem with Graham Turner is his strength was his weakness in so many ways, because when Hereford went bust, it wouldn't have happened under Graham Turner, because
no chance.
He had we always used to mind, he's only signing 1-year contracts. Well, David Keat signing 3-year contracts for ridiculous, and we all know what happened there. But sometimes we just felt, could he just gone a bit and kept you? And I know you had an offer from I think it was was it Shrewsbury you went to, but you had an offer from Chester, and we felt gutted you left, but some ways you can understand it.
It was tricky. I look back at it and saying, but in hindsight, it was a mistake.
But that's how
should have stayed for another year or two at Hereford. But Graham may look back at that, and for some of us there, maybe should have just pushed the boat out a little bit, not ridiculously, but just a bit, and just kept that team together for another year. Might not have happened, might have. But when you get to, I was like 24, 25 maybe at that stage, and you get into the age where you need to start earning good money, and look, the argument might be that in hindsight, if I'd stayed for another year or two, I might have got more money at Hereford, or I might have actually gone somewhere better, and it might have worked out better in the long term. But again, we don't. We're sort of guessing, aren't we? I mean, if I knew what I knew about Shrewsbury once I'd gone there before, I wouldn't have joined, because it just didn't feel like it was. As much as Hereford fans want me to say this, it was probably a bigger club at that time. But not big enough to be a difference. And I looked at it and just thought, what we were doing at Hereford, we were maximising the playing staff, all the resources that Graham had, a lot more than Shrewsbury probably. Where Shrewsbury, I think, got the success that they had just because they had good players, not because they were being well coached or managed or well run clubs. You know what I mean? I think they had some good players, and you look at some of those players that I played with there went on to have really good careers. But I looked at it. I regretted it probably been a month or so, to be honest. But it was fine because Jimmy Quinn was a manager who tended to play me, and Jimmy was fine. I didn't have no problem with him.
No, but it's Gary Peters, isn't it?
Yeah. Then unfortunately I got done my shoulder again, which put me out after again a pretty positive start at Shrewsbury. Scored a few goals.
That's right. Yeah.
I was top scorer before I got injured. Without tearing it up, probably having a decent effect. And
I'm going to be honest here. When I used to have the highlights on ITV then, and when we saw you score it was like this sort of bittersweet. I'm pleased to see you doing well, but it was like, I was gutted when you did your shoulder again.
And obviously, so I was out for them for 6 months. In that time, Gary Peters come in.
Oh yeah.
Which is football. Look, football's football. It's not. Yeah. It ain't a personal thing. We just have totally different ideas on how football would be played. Let's be honest. He would have never signed someone like me.
No, exactly. He's not. Yeah.
And to be honest, I would never have signed for someone like him, even if he wanted to sign me, because we have different philosophies, which is fine.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way he went about things sometimes when I was playing for him, and the way he treated me sometimes. But look, he's got to do what he's got to do. Do I agree with it? No. Did I like it? No. Would I do that to someone else? No. But it's fine. About it.
No, and you refer to in the book, and I think sums it up well. And what we used to think of Hereford, lazy coaching. As other teams will see. What the tactics, and sometimes he came to Hereford as a consultant as well. It was terrible.
Like when I saw that show, I was just like,
yeah.
Because I spoke to Jamie, because obviously Jamie was the manager then when he.
That's right.
He's been really good so far. This was 2 weeks in. I saw him 6 months later, and believe me, he weren't saying that.
Yeah.
But it's just, look, this is where, and in Gary's defence, people tend they mould their football philosophy on their upbringing. So he played for obviously Wimbledon back in the day when they was a very direct team, had a lot of success doing that. So I can understand how he might have that. He might want to play that way. That's fine, but it's just not for me. And it weren't. I wasn't the right player for him. I felt like to start with, I was doing quite well when I come back from injury, and it was like he was playing me begrudgingly because he had to, not because he wanted to, and he was waiting for an opportunity for me to not be doing well, and that's what it felt like. And I felt like he was sort of trying to sabotage me a bit, and he probably did it in the end.
He sort of.
It's not the way to. Yeah, it's not the way to treat people. I don't think. If you didn't like me, just tell me. That's there's no. Yeah. There ain't no problems on that front. I'll never, very rarely, would I take anything personally. Look, was it an opinion I valued? No, so I didn't really care what he thought.
No, exactly.
People might say that's not the right way to say about you, but that's how it is. If someone like Graham told me something like that, I'd be upset because he's someone who
you cared.
I value his opinion, and I value Gary's. I say as a guy, he's just not mine. Just don't value his opinion, and that's fine. I'm sure he don't think much of mine. So there's no issues on that front. It's just life, isn't it? You can't get on well with everyone.
No, and like you say, you didn't see eye to eye, which is sort of sums it up really. And but moving on now to before we go on to your second spot, I want to talk about Steve Evans. Interesting. What a character. And we used to when he came come to Edgar Street with his Boston, if I remember right. And he used to come along, and if he wasn't booed, I think he would be disappointed if he wasn't sworn at. He almost got a kick. This is from, tell me if I'm wrong, but if he had this sort of personality that he needed a sort of a fight from a crowd or from something to get him going. Is that right? How would you describe it?
Well, he revels in the notoriety. There's no doubt about that. He loved that. He liked to create conflict, and that's not just with other teams and fans. He created conflict in our dressing room a lot of the time with the players, and that's how he would wind people up and motivate people. Now, it's strange because there is actually a lot more thought behind the sort of stuff he does than people probably give him credit for. He's quite an intelligent guy when he's not all het up and frustrated and angry. So, from about 2:30 to about 5:30 is an absolute nightmare.
Turns into an animal, does he?
A lunatic.
Yeah.
When you sit with him through the week and chat in the office, and I'd agree with a lot of the stuff he said, and we'd chat, and I could work out what he was doing. But then on some days on a training pitch, or in the round of games, he's just turned into like an absolute monster. But he's done a really good job at what he's done.
Top fault promotions he's had,
There's loads of different ways to manage his team and manage footballers and how you want to play football. And do I agree with a lot of the stuff he did? No. Some of the stuff he did work. He worked on me a lot of the time. What he done, it wound me up, which I'm sure was what he was trying to do.
Exactly.
But look, if I was in his position, I'd do things a lot differently. Would I be more successful? I don't know. Maybe not. But there's not like he was someone that it's a weird one because I got on fine with him most of the time. Some of the times I thought it was stupid. Some of the stuff he was doing I was cringing. Other times I thought that's quite clever. That's just he polarises opinion with the way he acts, and I think does. But like I said, he's not stupid.
No, and I think this sums it up well. Someone said once, you know, you'd love to have him at, you know, your club, and sort of no, you know, even Hereford fans wouldn't like it if you know, he does the job sometimes.
But this is what I say. It depends how you want to get promoted. If you've got no scruples and don't care how you get up, as long as you get up, he'll do it as your man.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you want to get up playing a certain way and with a bit of class, then maybe not so much.
No.
Yeah, but if there's plenty of managers out there, not managers, sorry, plenty of chairmen and owners out there, as you've seen, they just want to get promoted and they don't care how it happens. And if that's what you want, he's your man. And I would never. You know, I wouldn't question that as long as you've got a decent budget, because he recruits good players. That's part of his success. He don't create players; he recruits good players and puts them into a team. But there's no. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this season Mansfield are getting promoted or right up the top.
No, exactly.
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
No, exactly. So that's interesting take on that. So skipping on a bit now, before you came back to. Now, sort of, I jumped well ahead then. But I want to talk about your second stint at Hereford again.
Yeah.
So you were at Weymouth early January 2007, was it?
Yep, that's it.
And you had a call off Graham Turner. Now, did Cheltenham match a bid, wasn't it, 20,000?
It was an interesting word to start because I was having a really good season at Weymouth. So I'd scored sort of 10 goals by Christmas. From midfield, I think I was the top scorer, so it was going really well. And it's interesting, you know, people talk about having agents and that, but when you're doing well, you don't need an agent. I must have had, within that happening, I had about 10 or 12 clubs all trying to ring within like 2 days. But as soon as it would come out, a lot of conference teams and 5 football league clubs, so Hereford would be one, Cheltenham was one, Macclesfield, Peterborough and Bournemouth. So all them on the sign. So straight away I'm thinking, right, at that time, right, I just want to go in the Football League, so I'm not talking to the conference teams. Just said, you know, politely declined it. Said thanks for your interest, but I want to go to a Football League club.
Yeah.
And then it was important that I played. So I looked at Peterborough, they were signing a lot of players, and I was thinking, I'm not sure if I'm going to get in this team. If I'm being honest, you know, I need to. I'm 26, 20, 27, 28.
Yeah,
I need to play.
Yeah.
So I weren't sure about that. Bournemouth were under it at that time, obviously not the team, the club they are now. They was under like a bit of a transfer embargo. There was going to be a problem in that happening, so that got knocked out. Macclesfield, Paul Ince's manager at Macclesfield, he was really keen for me to go, but he was doing so well. I knew he was going to end up moving on. I didn't want to be left there without him, so I ruled that out. So it basically come down to Cheltenham and Hereford. So I went as for Cheltenham, had a really good chat, offered me a really good contract. But then before the conversation ended, I said to like John Ward, you know, what do you think of the player? Well, I haven't really seen him play, and I was like, because I thought I think to myself as a player, I had quite unique skills. You either liked the way I played or you didn't.
Yeah.
I thought if someone that, if he's expecting some, you know, athletic player that gets around the pitch and kicking everyone, then he's going to be sorely mistaken and disappointed.
Yeah.
So then obviously I went and spoke to Graham, and he sort of wasn't as good contract financially as Cheltenham, but I didn't want to make that same mistake that I'd made when I left Hereford initially and went just for the money. You know, whoever I was going to go to was paying me a good wage. You know, I didn't have any question with that. So I just wanted to make sure I was going to go somewhere I was going to play, and I knew that Graham knew my game inside out. He knew what I could do. He knew what I couldn't do. He was as keen as he's ever going to be to get me. You know, he's not an overly animated kind of guy. He's not going to be hugging me, telling me how much he wants me. But, you know, he made it pretty clear that he wanted me to go there.
Yeah, and to see him spend 20,000, wow.
yeah, well, exactly. That's like you. You know, I don't think he's ever hasn't spent that in the last 10 years out of his own pocket.
No, exactly.
Take his missus on holiday, let alone on a player.
So he loves you, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, so that was important. I knew that as long as I played near my level, I was going to play every week. I knew I was going to enjoy it because there was still a few lads there that I knew, and I knew the area and knew I liked all that. So
yeah,
that was why I did it really. And I must admit, probably at the start, I probably thought to myself, I came initially and played all right, not great, and the team weren't doing very well. We had quite a dry patch, and the season just sort of fizzled out. And I was probably thinking, I'm not sure if this was right. Graham was probably thinking, not sure why I spent all this money on him. And then obviously the next season, it was pretty much like the 03-04 season, not explosive, but it just clicked, didn't it? And we had a really good team again, and it was another brilliant. Really, you know, those 2 seasons would be the 2 seasons that probably stick out in my mind as my most enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean,
career.
Yeah, I mean that sort of seasons I think bringing in Hooper was a sort of catalyst just to sort of fire us to it's an amazing end, really.
Yeah.
And the sort of the goals there, and you sort of came into your own that season as well, as you said. The sort of probably the first season you were sort of I wouldn't say rusty, just getting back. You know, there was a lot of pressure in a way, wasn't there, the first of the season?
Well, the problem I find is I came in January. You've gone from one team where I'm probably the main player and it's going really well to going to a totally different new team in a different league. And I found it twice now. I moved to Weymouth, from Shrewsbury to Weymouth in January, and moved to Weymouth to Hereford. And both times I struggled.
Never ideal, is it?
But average, yeah, I didn't like it because I'm moving house and buying a house and doing all that sort of stuff. I'm reintegrating into the team.
No pre-season,
It's tricky. It's tricky. And in an ideal world, I wouldn't have done it. But obviously, the state that Weymouth was in, it was either that or don't get paid. So there was no decision to make. But it took me a while to get going. But it was the next season just sort of kicked into place. There was some brilliant. Graham made some brilliant loan signings, and I developed a really good relationship with Toomey straight away. So after playing with Jamie and having a great relationship with him, built up a great relationship with Toomey. You know, two players I feel we were probably on the same wavelength. And then Theo come in as a young player you probably expect nothing of, and scored loads of goals.
Wow.
Lionel came in
from
nowhere and was absolute mustard. Like how he ended up coming to us, I don't know, because he was destined to play higher. And then, like you say, just when we looked like we were having a little wobble, you had Sergio McDonald come in for a month or so and scored a few goals, and Hoops come. And like you say, if we didn't get Gary, I'm not sure we would have done it.
No, because there's a lot of people complaining, jealousy, saying, but the reason people used to come to Hereford loans is other clubs, big clubs like West Brom, trusted Graham Turner. It wasn't fluke that we had good players coming on loan because, you know, Graham Turner was sort of trusted in looking after their players.
But also, you just got to recruit according to your budget.
Yeah.
Graham didn't have loads of money, so
he was clever.
Gary Peters was the one that was whinging about that when we beat him.
That's right. Yeah.
He's got probably a triple the size wage budget. Now, if Graham had that wage bill, he would have probably done it differently.
Exactly.
But he didn't, so we had to sign Black, and it shows that was by no means a foregone conclusion, because the year after we tried a similar strategy and it was a disaster.
Well, I was going to come on to that. Yeah, you're just taking the words out of my mouth, that one.
Yeah, so it's not. There was. We obviously recruited really well, but there's an element of luck as well, because you don't know no one would have known that Theo was going to go on and score 15 goals. Even you look at people like Trevor Benjamin, done a great job, especially the first half of the season, scored 10 or 12 important goals.
Yeah.
Tim Easton done a great job on the left wing. You know, everyone who came in, I don't think there was a...
There wasn't a weak link, was there?
No, I don't think there was one that bombed everyone. Like Chris Taylor was tricky in and out of the team, but a great part of the team to someone to come in.
Yeah, sort of a manager's dream, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He could play pretty much every position.
Yeah.
Always done a decent job. So there was more than a decent job. Always done a good job. So
you
know that weren't luck. But like I said, the problem was that it was similar to what I was saying when we was in the conference. All the loan players did too well. So apart from Toomey, he was the only one who could get back. Everyone else went on to bigger and better things. And the loan signings that we made the next year didn't have the same effect.
No, and also going back now, that sort of. The season, if you're Gary Medson, say at West Brom, whatever, managing, who are you going to loan a player to? Hereford with Graham Turner or Gary Peters with Shrewsbury?
You'd like to.
No brainer, is it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So that's a reputation that's built over 20, 30 years for Graham.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of touched on it actually when we got promoted, and we were very close in getting Hooper. Oh, can you believe it? Signing Hooper. So close. Anyway, that's another story. So we sort of got promoted, and I remember coming back after the Grimsby game. What a day that was! 6,000.
Oh yeah.
The sort of promotion party, and I
remember
coming back on the train with a friend of mine, and we were saying, "Oh, this is great! This is brilliant! You know, Graham's going to spend some money." And my friend said, "Don't believe it. You won't.
You must be drunk then."
Probably had too many strongbows. Yeah. But he was sort of totally right. And I've had one question actually from, I put a few questions out on the Facebook, and one question is quite interesting to ask you is, when we got promoted, did you find, this is a question now, that when you see clubs like Yeovil, Scunthorpe and Burton now who made it to the Championship, probably smaller than us, you know, in some ways.
Yeah, arguably.
Yeah, arguably. Do you feel sort of a bit of frustration, one fan asked, that, you know, Graham, and you touched on earlier, just didn't quite, push the boat out to spend a bit more money to stay in League One, because it was a bit of a damp It's a bit of a shame how it ended, wasn't it?
I mean, I think Graham's got to do what he's got to do, and he's got to run the business the way he feels fit. I was surprised that for people like Gary Hoover, we didn't have a clause written into his loan agreement that we could sign him for a fixed fee if he'd done well. Do you know?
Yeah.
Because I think you could have probably got that when he first come, because he wasn't particularly highly rated then.
He wasn't. He's Southend, wasn't he? Yeah.
He wasn't getting in Southend teams. It's not like he's coming from a top club.
No.
So I'm surprised he didn't get that. And just the problem is, because so many of our better players were loan players, the team that went into League One was miles weaker than the team that got promoted from League Two. No doubt about it. Like, I looked at it, I remember when it happened, and took all the loan players out and the players that had left. So like Trev left, Theo was obviously on loan.
Yeah.
I finished up as a top scorer with like 6 goals.
Yeah.
So, you take all that, you're taking probably 30, 40, 50 goals out of the team. Well,
yeah, and you're sort of going up. Yeah.
We're going a league higher.
Leeds, Leicester, you look at
Millwall. You look at the sort of games that we would have weekly in a league game. You look at it and think 3 or 4 years ago we'd be buzzing to get that once in the FA Cup for one game. Now we're playing these sort of games every week, and it's
unbelievable.
I don't know, it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit careful what you wish for, because you get there and then it's like, oh shit, we're out.
Yeah, I remember going to Leeds and I said to someone, just pinch me. This is a league game. We're playing them on a natural level, and we played them in the cup the year before, but.
Yeah, and we beat them, didn't we?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, obviously
that was with better players
later in the season. But it's frustrating because. Yeah, of course it is. But like you said, I mean, probably
he wouldn't. He wasn't going to push out, and understandably, because he wasn't going to do, bankrupt the club that someone did later on.
If you see what happened in later on, it was probably the right thing not to do. Could he have spent a bit more? Like, I look at people like how they let people like Wayne Brown go. Do you know what I mean? He would have won a fortune. And little things like that would, you can understand. Like, obviously Brown, he was always quite outspoken anyway.
Yeah.
And his service deserved. I don't know exactly what he wanted, but it wouldn't have been hundreds of pounds more. When it would have been maybe couple hundred quid a week more. And for someone that done what he'd done.
But
we ended up having loan keepers all season, didn't we? Pretty much. So,
what's his name? The Irish guy.
Darren Randolph. Yeah. He's had a great career, isn't he? But I'm not sure you would have said that when he was playing.
Less Leeds guys, Leeds fans came up to me and said, "Who's that playing for you in goal?" The one we played them away, and I said, "Oh, we got him on loan from Charlton."
But he had an amazing game that game.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Kept it down, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was absolutely
unbelievable.
He had a really good career.
Yeah, to be fair, but his attitude wasn't right. I believe.
He was probably. I think he's just grown up at that age when he
young kid
himself now. Yeah, of course.
Probably grown up. Yeah.
Mistakes.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So the League One was a bit of a sort of stamp. Really sort of ended disappointed, but I looked at it then. Funny enough, and I remember thinking, I looked at Ruston and Diamond, similar, got promoted to League One, and then look at them, same as Hereford, got wound up. And I just felt, once we plummeted, it was like it was just free falling. It was terrible to see. I sort of would like to sort of end, before I end on a high note, a bit of a damper really. When you sort of heard that Hereford were in trouble, and it sort of got to we were going to court every other week, it felt like.
Yeah.
When it finally happened that December day on a Friday in December, I bet you must have felt sort of, like us really, because it's part of your life. And so if you could sort of sum up how your memories of that day.
It's strange, isn't it? Because like you say, it was continuously going on, and it seemed like the inevitable was going to happen. And it's a weird feeling between being really disappointed and upset and relief. I'd imagine that I've never had this, and this might be a bad analogy, but I'd imagine it's having a terminally ill relative where you love them so much, you don't want them to go, but they're out of their misery when it finally happens. And also, I think in the long run, I hope it's going to be the best thing that ever happened. And now it probably didn't feel like then, and it maybe don't feel like that now. But hopefully in 10, 15, 20 years, we'll be looking back to the club back in the Football League and established and say, well, actually, in the short term, that was really painful, and no one would have wanted it to happen. But in the long term, it's actually now the club's a fan-owned club. It's getting the best support it's probably had for.
Amazing,
10 years.
Getting better support now than it did in League One at home. Some games.
It's ridiculous. So it shows that hopefully the future's brighter, and I know, like, obviously the last couple of years the lads have done great to get up through the league. It's going to get tougher the higher you go up, as it always is.
It will. Yeah.
I'd imagine whatever league, non-league level the club are at, they would have a competitive budget, and also if the fans and the support stays the way it is, they'll have that competitive budget in the, in the top end of non-league or lower end of the football league, I would have thought.
Yeah, the problem we have is sort of clubs coming to us now, and it's like sort of for them it's like playing Man United. They come and pump us. Yeah. We probably find it easier playing away, but I think this season, I think fans are going to be patient. I think if we can make the playoffs and maybe consolidate, because we've had a good 2 seasons rising, but as you say, it's to me, my feelings were the same as yours. I went on the radio on that day and said it was like putting a cat out, taking a cat to the vets and having it put down. Similar thing to what you're saying, and it wasn't enjoyable. Our crowds in the conference, the last season in conference, we had a crowd of around 650.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was that was the day I felt this crazy. So in some ways, it's but there are some unfortunately fans out there who don't see it like you and me, who are sort of there are only a couple mine, but there's a couple who are very upset about it all, but can't please everyone. But that's really that's a really interesting. Love chatting to you, Ben, about all of that.
Yeah,
great.
No problem.
I've got a competition now.
Yeah.
Giving away your, as I said, excellent book, and it's got a copy here now. I've had it hot off the press, sent to me through the post here, and it's The Journeyman, and it's wonderful, and it's published by Biteback. Is that publishing?
Yeah, it's Biteback Publishing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's out in all good bookshops, and there are plenty of them out there, good bookshops, I believe. And as I say, it's won a lot of admiration from a lot of. I've been reading on Twitter, and a lot of fans of all clubs, not just Hereford and Crawley and Yeovil.
Yeah,
amazing, isn't it?
Well, that's been the real plus part for it. I always thought it'd be a bit of a slow burner, where obviously the initial attraction is going to be to the clubs that I've played at, because people will have a sort of, if not a huge recollection, a brief recollection of me. But I thought if you're interested in football, whether it's top level or lower leagues, there's going to be something that you can relate to. So thankfully that's been the case. And it's had a lot of positive reviews. And obviously sold a lot more than the publishers ever expected. So it's been a nice bonus. I didn't really do it for the money or the exposure. I just did it because I thought it'd be nice to write it, and it's a nice thing to look back on in years to come. People always tell me how hard it is to get a book published, but it's been pretty easy for me.
Wow, you're a budding author, isn't it? Well, I remember on Twitter, because we follow you on Twitter, and going back, back into 2011, you were saying you're going to do a book, and any tips and things, and any sort of ideas for titles. And I still think you should have used the 6.5 and the interview, the classic interview on Sky. But it's still a good Journeyman's fine.
I wanted From Arsenal to Obscurity. That's what I wanted.
That's a good one.
But the publishers didn't like it. They didn't want it being associated to one particular club, because for so tribal, they were worried that anyone who supported Tottenham would be interested in it and stuff like that. So I went with their greater knowledge on that sort of thing. But
actually, I think they're right there. Yeah, as you say, there's a lot with the Premier League fans. They're very, very drive on. You would have got a lot of Tottenham fans who probably read the book now, probably wouldn't have that title. So you're correct there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, so for this signed book, and you give us a question, please, Ben.
How many goals did we score in the 2003-2004 league season?
That's a good one. So, to win this signed book by Ben Smith, how many goals did we score in the 2003-2004 season? That's league goals or
league? Yeah, league goals.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And what I want the fans to do now is, when this goes up on Facebook, is we'll answer through the comments page, and then we'll pick a winner sometime next week, and you'll win the great book from Ben Smith, The Journeyman. And it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you, Ben. I've spoken to you a few times in the club bar when players were accessible in those days. We used to come in and have a drink, and you've always been, always great to the fans. And from talking to the fans, you've been, you're definitely up there with. I know history's gone down, but it'll always be there. That one of the great midfielders of Hereford United.
Lovely. Well, that's great. That's great, T. I always loved it. And if fans would buy me a pint, I was always happy to talk. So
yeah. You'll have to come down and sometime, and you won't have to buy a pint again in Hereford.
Oh, lovely. Sure. I'll hold you to that.
That's brilliant.
Nice one. Cheers, Ed.
No, all the best, Ben. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.